Welcome back, everyone. All this week, we're sitting down with the leading candidates in the heated race for San Francisco mayor. And today, we're talking with former supervisor and interim mayor Mark Farrell, who has called for a tougher approach to addressing concerns about public safety and street conditions. Farrell says he has a plan to put more officers out there on the streets, and he's also promising new leadership at SFPD.
Hey, we'll start the conversation right there as we bring Mark Farrell back in here. Appreciate you staying with us here. You have obviously said, and a lot of people have heard this promise, that if you're elected, you would fire Police Chief Bill Scott, chief of the SFPD. Chief Scott has pushed back on this, and he's pointed to crime numbers across the board, which are trending down. Wouldn't removing him create disarray in the department at a time when it feels like things are moving in the right direction?
No, it's absolutely the right thing to do for San Francisco. Look, Chief Scott's a good man. I worked with him before on a personal level, no issues at all. But the reality is the average tenure of a police chief in the U.S. is 3 years. He's been here for over 8. The longest serving police chief in San Francisco in the last 50 years. And has rode side saddle with Mayor Breed when she defunded the police department. Police staffing is down over 25% since I left office just 6 years ago. And we have a police commission essentially running roughshod over the police officers on the streets, protecting us every single day as San Francisco residents. I want a new leader to work with me when I'm mayor, to grow our police department budget once again, to recruit new officers, to grow our police department in terms of staffing levels, and make San Francisco safe again for all residents.
But it would be the police commission that would put forth a pool of potential candidates to fill that role. Are you confident they would put someone, forth that you would want to have in that position?
First of all, I'll appoint an interim police chief of my choosing and wait till a correct police chief comes from the police commission. But more importantly, if Proposition D passes on the ballot this November, it turns all of our commissions from policy bodies to advisory only in nature, and therefore allows the mayor to hire and fire every department head, including the police chief. So I'm very optimistic that Proposition D will pass, but in the absence of that, we will have the right police chief in there no matter what.
Mark, you talk about boosting the ranks of SFPD, and one of your proposals is to allow officers who have retired from the department to come back, still collecting their pensions, and to be out on the streets. First of all, is that feasible, and is that affordable?
Sure. So this is Proposition F that's on the ballot actually this November. It's not retired officers. It's actually active police officers that are on the verge of retirement. And instead of allowing them to retire, we offer them the ability to stay on the workforce for up to 5 more years, so long as they're on patrol, not on a desk job, and continue to essentially accrue a pension. And from my perspective, given how short we are in police staffing levels, we want to keep those experienced officers on the workforce, on the streets of our city, walking the beats in our neighborhoods, as opposed to retiring. And so to me, it's an essential part of building back our police force once again, and really one of the stopgap measures that we need to implement as we grow our police academy once again, as I did before as supervisor, as mayor, and I will do again next year.
What would you do differently than Mayor Breed when it comes to addressing the drug crisis in the city? It sounds like you would take an aggressive approach, but we're already seeing Mayor Breed stepping up enforcement, arresting more dealers, even arresting people who are using drugs. How would your approach to addressing that crisis differ from hers?
Look, this administration's approach to the drug crisis is complete failure. We're breaking our own record for drug overdose deaths on our streets every single year. Last year, over 850 people OD'd on the streets of our city, and we're literally, as a city government, paying nonprofit workers every day to roll through the Tenderloin with shopping carts, handing out free packets of tinfoil and straws, enabling people to smoke fentanyl on the streets of our city, enabling people to slowly kill themselves on the streets of our city. To me, that's not humane, progressive, or the right thing to do. My North Star is saving lives. How do we get people off the streets, voluntarily or involuntarily, connect them with services, and give them a chance at a different life? At the same time, we clean up the streets of our city, clean up our neighborhoods. It's a policy we should feel really great about as San Francisco, and something I'm going to do right away.
Mark, we are just about out of time, but my final question has to deal with the competitiveness of this race. And you have formed an alliance with current supervisor Asha Safai. Those at home know that San Francisco has ranked choice voting. Why this strategy? Why this approach? And is it fair to voters?
Look, 100%. At the end of the day, I'm not the biggest fan of ranked choice voting. I tried to get rid of it when I was in City Hall before. But at the end of the day, it's the system we have. And we feel great about where our campaign sits in the polls heading into the final home stretch of this election. But Asha and I have worked together before. We share a lot of very similar values. Raising children in San Francisco, both come from labor backgrounds. Both of my parents were heads of their labor unions, working class family. Asha's worked for the labor unions as well. So to me, we want to share those values with the voters of San Francisco and continue to be out there on the streets every single day educating voters about the right choice for mayor.
But doesn't this, maybe in some sense sort of telegraph a message to voters that you don't believe you can win this election on your own?
Oh, not at all. But to me, at the end of the day, we're going to do everything possible to make sure that we have a change of leadership inside of City Hall. I don't believe the city of San Francisco can afford 4 more years of London breed. We need to turn the page on the last 6 years of failed leadership. We need to write a new chapter for San Francisco. That's what my campaign has always been about, and that's what this alliance is also about.
Well, Mark Farrell, we really appreciate you coming in. Speaking of incumbent London Breed, you will be joining us right here on the floor tomorrow.
All right.
Appreciate your time, Mark.
Thank you. We appreciate it.